Welcome back. Here we are to continue our discussion of the Swift programming language. In the previous video, we looked at protocols, and we took a look at how to write a protocol, and we discussed what a protocol is. I think it's time to practice with some protocols, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to download these 7 playgrounds, okay? So I'll include a link to this this repo in the video description. And what you're going to do is you're going to go here and you can choose download as zip, and that should download all 7 playgrounds. It seems like a lot. These playgrounds are pretty short though. Okay, so you'll download all 7 playgrounds here, and all the playgrounds are the same. They have a couple small short challenges. And as you complete the challenges, you can go on to the next playground, and the next playground always has the solution in it. So, if you get stuck, you can just peek ahead and see what the solution was if you need a clue, okay? So let's open up the first one and take a look, right? So I'll open up the first playground here, and it's empty, and it just says, hey, define a base player class. Okay, so the whole idea of these challenges is to define the classes you might use for an RPG game. Okay, so the first one here is to define a player class that has the following properties. So it's got hit points and name. And the player should also implement an adventure method, okay? And so the method should print, name goes adventuring, okay? And then challenge number 2 is to extend the player class and define a fighter class. So the fighter class should be a subclass of player, and it should implement a new method called melee, okay? And this will say, it'll just print the message like name attacks with sword, okay? And fighters always have 8 hit points. So the fighter class should set the hit points on player to 8, okay? So let's walk through how we might get started with this. So challenge number 1 might look like this. So we might say player, and then we would say var name is a string, and var hit points, I can't type today, hit points is an int, okay? And then player needs an initializer, so we'll include it here, and we'll say name is string and hit points is an int. And then we'll say, self.name equals name, and self.hitpoints equals hit points, right? So that covers this part. Now we need to implement an adventuring method. So let's do that. Let's do func adventure, and the adventure method will print out, let's see here, it'll print out name goes adventuring. Exclamation point. Okay, there we go, right, nice. So that's challenge number 1. And challenge number 2 now is to extend the player class, right? So let's try that. So let's do class fighter extends player, right? And fighter needs an initializer, right? So it's going to take in name and hit points, but actually fighter sets hit points equal to 8. So and actually I don't need the override there. It gave me override, but I don't need that. So I'm going to get rid of that. So we're going to take name, and then we'll say init, right? Well, actually super init, and we'll initialize name, and we'll set hit points to 8 in our super class, right? Okay, so that creates an extension of the player class. That's a fighter. And then fighter has a function called melee, and melee is going to print out name attacks with sword, exclamation point, right? There you go. So there's the solution to challenge number 1. And your solution might vary a little bit. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine, but generally it should look like this, okay? So there we go, right? So solution number one. Now, ideally, what these playgrounds are going to do here is after you get the first one, it'll show you what the solution is in the next one. And then ideally, what you're going to get from this is the first couple of playgrounds are going to use classes to solve the RPG problem, but that's going to actually it's going to show you like where the classes kind of fall short and where they cause problems, right? And then we're going to switch and we're going to use a protocol to solve the problem, right? So the first couple ones just use classes and then it switches to protocols, right? So follow these through. Let me know what you think of these. If you have any new ideas or anything you want to add to these, post them in the comments, or let's discuss it. And good luck with that. And if you have any questions along the way, feel free to add it to the comments or send me a message. Okay, thanks.